All right, finally in this video, we're going to talk about the tiering page, which is an awesome new web page where you're going to be able to see all of the data as it's being entered in real time, and even as like other people are entering in different parts of the campus. It's also going to give you in the moment analysis of how many kids are meeting goals, how many kids are moving up a tier, what percent of kids are fluent. It's really cool stuff. In order to align our labeling with navigation and ESP, which is hopefully going to, prevent a lot of miscommunication between teams, we are going to start from now on labeling our benchmarks using A1 for the August-September benchmark, A4 coincides with the November benchmark, and A6 will coincide with the April benchmark. So get used to those labels. A6 tier is going to be, is what this page is really calculating, which is the tier prediction, what tier are they placing into for next year. And those tier predictions are what we're going to share with ops managers and school directors so that they can plan master schedule stuff, okay? You'll notice on this page that if students are missing any data, either the Maze or RCBM benchmark, the A6 tier will be blank. Once kids have data in there, the A6 tier will say not calculated until you hit the calculate and save button. And then their tier will pull up. The reason this button has to be there is in case multiple people on your campus are entering data at the same time. It could cause this page to get confused. So by having the calculate and save button, that lets you know that what you're looking at is the most current, most up-to-date data. So you can push calculate and save as many times as you want, and it'll reload the page, okay? Now, right now, I know that we're going to want to be able to export this report to Excel so that we can manipulate it a little more easily, add students to it if they're missing from navigation, and send it on in a file that's easy to share with ops managers and SDs. So Matt is working on a button that will download it for you into an Excel document basically, and that will be ready by April 6th. Okay, let's go over and look at the tiering page. So again, I'm going to choose my campus, my grade level, and now I'm selecting tiering. I click Get Students. It's looking at a lot of data in a giant database, so be a little patient with it as it's retrieving all this information. And what you're going to see is kind of similar to a spreadsheet. It's going to be a big table, big wide table, but it's going to be looking at the database in real time. There it is. Okay, so it might take a second. I know that looking at so many data points at once can be overwhelming, so you have the option to hide Maze and hide the RCBM sections, and then all you'll see is the student information and then their tiering placement. Okay, so again, A1, this would be where they placed in the fall. A4 is where they placed based on their middle of year benchmark. And A6 is their new tier where we predict they're going to place next fall. Okay, so these students, I've already entered their data and calculated their tier. So I hit calculate and save already. And those are the kids I've already entered data for, and you can see their stuff. If I hadn't yet hit calculate and save, it would say not calculated right here. And that would just tell you you have to hit that button. Okay, and it reloads the page every time you do that. Let's go through section by section, and let me show you just how to read each column to make sure we're clear. So if you show the Maze scores, you see the A1 score, that was their first score of the year, their goal, and then how they did mid-year. A4 goal would be their goal for second semester. And then their A6 score will be their most recent goal. If you haven't entered that score yet, it will show up as a 0, okay? And then that information will determine their tier placement if they are going to be 1 or 1.5. So that's May's. Let's just look at RCBM, which is, as always, more complicated. Let's look at Denise first. So she started the year at a 4th grade level with a score of 100. And her goal was to reach 110, okay? Her A1 final score, that's actually the score that she got in November that closed out her goal. So in November, she got 117. She beat her score. However, she was still at a 4th grade level, and so that set her goal for spring. For A4, her initial score was 117, and so her goal was 127. And then her A4 final score, that's her score right now that she just took in April, was actually only 100. So she did not meet this goal, okay? Now A6 level, this tells you for Denise, it's the same as her A4 level. She didn't move up, but this is where you would maybe see a different data set than what you see right here if she had moved up or down a level. Let's look at an example of that. Here's one. Let's look at Alyssa Castillo. So actually, this is kind of a sad story. So she started at the phone of 5, and this was her data. She went down to a 4th grade level second semester, and her final score, though, was really strong. She got a 125, and so she passed out of A4. Now she's on a 5th grade level, and this was her final score on a 5th grade level. So all 3 of these data points are actually representing her April benchmark. This was the benchmark score she got at the 4th grade level, and this was the benchmark score she got at her final level, her 5th grade level, okay? And it looks at this final A6 level when we calculate the tier. So she should be in tier 2, which is accurate, okay? So that's the RCBM section. You'll just see these little hyphens for any kids who don't have goals or don't have data yet and need it, okay? Now a really cool button is this one, the Show Analysis button. Here you can open it up and you're going to see the percent of kids real time who met their Maze goal in A1. So that's their first semester Maze goal. And you'll also see their A4 Maze goal met. So the A4 goal is the time period, you know, from November now to April. So as you're filling in data, this column is going to tell you what percent of kids have met their goal second semester. I've only entered a few data points, so it's not that many yet. So it's also going to tell you percent of benchmarks complete. And so this way you can check your progress and make sure you're going to finish on time and make sure you have 100% data by the due date, okay? It's also going to report on, so this is telling you the number of positive tier changes that happened in A4. So in November, there were almost 22% of kids went up a tier. And it's going to update in real time as we're entering data in A6. It's going to tell us, okay, in April, how many kids are going up a tier for next year. All right. Finally, you have the percent of kids who are fluent during the 3 benchmarking periods. All right. So that is the tiering page. And again, there will be an Export to Excel button coming soon. And let me know if you have any questions. All right. Happy benchmarking. Bye, guys.